Hi, I just wanted to tell you I'm a really big fan of you. When you were in Lost, when you were in Being Human, and now in Supernatural. And you play such good characters that have so much like spiritual energy behind it. I mean, you have like a good, like, I don't know, it's just the energy about you. What was your inspiration?
Then why won't the boys jump on top of me?
What? What?
If I have such a good spiritual energy, why won't they jump on top of me?
So, like, what was your inspiration?
But wait a minute, you're not answering my question.
What?
Why don't they give me love?
So, like, what was your inspiration?
It's all that spiritual energy.
I'm sorry.
It's hard to hear, that's why I can't hear.
Oh, it's because it's echoey?
Yeah, it's hard to understand what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
okay. So what was your inspiration? For the roles that you play, because you're so spiritual, the energy. Like, what was you, like, into when you were growing up? That's what I'm asking.
What was I into when I was growing up? Sharks. I wanted to be a marine biologist for the longest time. I did. And I used to, you know, study books on marine biology and oceanography. And then I discovered I was afraid of sharks. And it wouldn't really work for that job. Plus I get a little claustrophobic when I go scuba diving. Has anybody ever scuba dived? It's fucking terrifying. You want me to tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
So the first time I got certified eventually, but the first time I went scuba diving was in Mexico. And our dive master was like 12, which already made me feel really weird. But I had heard from somebody else that you could get claustrophobic going scuba diving, so that idea was in my head, which is a bad idea to get in your head when you're 5 minutes from going scuba diving. So I turned to my wife, who's sort of not afraid of anything, and I was like, do me a favor, there's like 25 people in our group, don't go down first. Let's go down last, because the idea was you dive all the way to the bottom, you sit on the bottom, and you wait for everybody else to descend. And the idea of sitting on the ocean floor waiting for 25 other people to come down sort of freaked me out. I was having a little bit of a panic attack. So I'm like, okay, do you hear me? Hello, don't go down first. He's like, okay. Dive master says, who wants to go first? He says, I do! Swims over to the guy and the buoy that's sitting there, and the chain that goes all the way down to the bottom. I was like, fuck, I can't back out now. So I went down to the bottom. What was the point of that? There was a point.
Claustrophobic.
Well, the point was I overcame my claustrophobia.
Oh.
I found a way to do it. Anybody here get claustrophobia?
Yes.
Anxiety? I found a way to deal with it because I was sitting there on the bottom and I was confronted with a choice. I could freak out right now and do an emergency ascent because I'm so freaked out, or I can deal with this. And so I just focused on all the beautiful things that were around me, and my anxiety disappeared. It was a great dive. It was fun. There's victory. What do they call that? There's a term for that when you focus your attention on grounding. You know that one? Grounding? Yeah. I'm confessing way too much. You're supposed to think I'm bad. And I'm telling you that I'm Woody Allen-ish. Thank you. I've done bad things. I can tell you bad things that I've done. To balance it out, you want to hear the bad things. Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
So, one of the questions I wanted to ask, like, as many cast members as possible is, we all know, as much as we wish, that Supernatural is going to eventually end. So, if you could say, screw the writers, how would you end the series?
No, it's not going to.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not ending it. If I have anything to say about it. That's it. I'm going to deny that there's going to be an end to this show. Everything in the universe is finite, right? Except Supernatural. What's up?
Hello.
Hey, man.
I wanted to ask for the character Lucifer in Supernatural, how much of that was scripted, how much of that was your interpretation of it, and if part of it was your interpretation, why did you go the route you did?
I mean, 99% of what I say on the show is scripted. So I just take the lead from the writers who make the suggestions in the dialogue, and I just try to play with it a bunch of different ways until something lands and feels right. But 99% of it is what they write. Little things thrown in here and there. You know, like they'll write, "Oh my God," and I would say, "Oh my dad," or you know, something like that. Just made a little more sense to me, right? So I would correct little things like that. That's it. Cool. He just walked away without saying anything. What's up?
Hello, my name's Liberty.
Liberty!
Hi.
I remember you.
Yeah.
Right on.
My question is...
I have a ring that says freedom or death right here. Is that a little too, it's a little too harsh, right? Okay.
My question is, what was it like working with Matt? No, my God, I'm having issues here. Michael Hall on Dexter, and were you kind of disappointed that Dexter didn't kill you his way on the show?
First, working with Michael was really cool, but it wasn't cool at first because our relationship on screen sort of seemed to bleed over into the off-screen stuff. Because we never really talked to each other for like 2 weeks of filming. We'd sort of avoid each other because of, I think, the way Paul was with Dexter. It just was weird. And then one day we found ourselves at the craft service table together, and I forget who first broke the ice, but one of us did. And I was like, "What the fuck? I thought you didn't like me." He's like, "I thought you didn't like me." And we're like, "Nah, it's cool, what the fuck?" And we were friends from that time on, so it was pretty fun. I was sort of disappointed in general with the way Paul died.
Yeah, I was too, actually.
I mean, I was hoping he would be one of Dexter's major foils. I mean, when I look back on it, I think, yeah, he's not equal intellectually to Dexter. It would sort of be anticlimactic to have a stupid bonehead like Paul be the guy that undoes you, right? So it's probably right that he got hit over the head, framed, and then beaten to death in prison. But I thought he would have a better end. I mean, the good news is I think I was only supposed to do like 4 episodes, and I ended up doing quite a few more.
Yeah, you were like an 8, I think.
Yeah, so that was nice. It was a good little show. And ironically, I read the pilot, and they wanted to bring me in for a guest star role, and I said, "No, I'll go up for Dexter, but I'm not going to go up for this guest star role." And this pilot script was written very well. My wife read it, and we were both troubled by the script, because the main character was a serial killer, probably the most disgusting, despicable being that walks the face of the earth, and he was the hero of the story. And we definitely thought it was the beginning of the end. So I can trace the end of human civilization to Dexter. But I was like, yeah, but I don't know, maybe it's not, because he has a value system. And he's trying to control his dark impulses. No.
His dark passions are...
His dark passions. So there's some value to it, but I think it marks the beginning of the end. I think historians will look back on our epoch here and say, yeah, it all started with Dexter. Just went downhill from there.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do you guys think that? Do you think it's cool that Hollywood makes serial killers like giants, villains, brilliant, appealing? I'm talking about serial killers, not genocidal maniacs. That's different. Huh? You didn't mind with Dexter? I don't know. What's
Hi
up?
there.
How are you?
Kind of speaking of the notoriety you have of playing more quote-unquote evil characters or characters of more of the sci-fi fantasy genre. What was it like to play kind of a departure from that in your small role on 13 Reasons Why?
There is no such thing as small roles, only small actors. I'm really, I really like being part of that project because I think it's about something important, and I think it's started some necessary conversations. I don't know that it's very stimulating, like as an actor. It feels a little generic for me, because the main characters, the ones going through the main struggle are the kids. But the second season sort of had a little more stuff to be reactive to, because my son was going through some terrible things. And I like that. I like being challenged as an actor. So far, it's not challenging as an actor, but it's a great project to be involved in. What do you think of it?
I like that you got to play more of a doting dad character rather than where certainly in Supernatural you're playing more of a
Asshole?
a different kind of father figure, let's say.
Asshole dad?
It was nice to see that departure in your character development as an actor.
Thanks. Well, I actually felt Deputy Stendhal's character was a little cut off from his son. You know, especially in the first season, where he's having a heart-to-heart with his son, praising him for getting into a fight while cleaning his gun. I thought that was a little weird. That seems a little, you know what I mean? I felt like Deputy Stendhal had a bigger bond with his athletic, son. And couldn't really relate to his artsy son. You follow?
No, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think there's some subtlety there, and certainly I think the writing could certainly have been better.
Yeah.
And there's certainly, better writers in different places than others, but it's only on its second season, so.
Right. And I think they gave Stendhal, they had him more connected to his son the second season, which was appropriate. But cleaning a gun like that, it just felt weird, in front of your clearly troubled son. I don't know. I did complain about that a bit to the producers, because he seemed a little out of step with his son. Do you remember that scene? Did you guys see that scene? Yeah. Yeah. Poor Alex. What's up?
Hi, I just want to say thank you for being here, and we love you.
Thank you.
So I've heard that you have a background in boxing and mixed martial arts, and
Yes.
I was wondering if you've been able to use that experience to choreograph any stunts, and if any of you have hurt each other while you've done any fight scenes through the years.
In Twisted, I helped them choreograph this little thing they did with the Kubaton, because I used to be pretty good with the Kubaton. But since then, it's like my martial arts background is very, very separate from anything I do in the entertainment world. Like, I don't even feel like I'm the same guy that did that stuff. So I don't, because I have issues now that I can't do any of that stuff, physical issues. So, shattered ankle and, issues with equilibrium that, I can't do all the crazy stuff I used to do. So none of that has come into play for many, many years in the work that I do, unfortunately. And I blame boxing for that. Because all this stuff happened about 7 days after a really long sparring session I had that was sort of brutal. And ever since then I've been sort of not quite the same. So the moral to the story is, do not let anybody hit you in the face multiple times over an extended period of time. It's very bad for you. Just telling you. I've had to use it in real life, though. Do you want to hear, I've been telling you what a puss guy I am. Do you want to hear a good story? So I was coming back from someplace, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had a bunch of books in my hand, and I parked on the street. This is in Hollywood. I get out of my car and I start going to my apartment, and I hear screaming. But you know, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so you think, that's kids. You don't quite put it all together. This car stops right on the corner as I'm going into my lobby. And this woman rolls down her window and she says, "He's raping her!" Well, that's disturbing. So I went around the corner, she pulled up, stopped, and was honking. I couldn't see anything. So I walk around the corner and I see a guy on top of a gang-looking guy, gangland type guy, on drugs, I think, on top of this woman who's like a nanny who's taking children for a walk. So there's a stroller with 2 kids abandoned while she's being assaulted. And I'm like, hey! And there's people watching from a balcony. I'm like, call the cops! And they run inside. And I'm walking towards the guy, I'm like, get the fuck off of her. And he gets up and he starts walking towards me around the car. I'm like, we're calling the police, and I'm still walking towards him. And he's like, fuck the police, man, fuck the police. And he's walking towards me. He's got all this baggy clothes. I don't know if he's got a gun. I'm sort of freaked out because I'm Woody Allen. And I took a step back. I'm like, man, I don't want to fuck with you. Don't fuck with me. The cops are coming. You know, just stop. He's like, fuck you, fuck. Comes in, and I hit him so hard in the face that he fell over his heels. The back of his head was touching his heels. And he was out. Cut my finger on his tooth. But for a year after that, the neighbors called me One Punch Pellegrino. I may be afraid of spiders, but I hit really hard. What's up?
I was wondering, if you were to play a live-action role-play or Dungeons & Dragons, what class would you play?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Okay, think video game. Would you be a fighter, a magic user, a healer, or what?
I'd be a magic user. I'd be a healer. I'd be a fighter. I have no idea. What would you be?
Rogue with a rapier.
That's what I'd be.
So yeah, we always call you Rogue with the rapier.
Rogue with a rapier?
Rapier, yeah.
A rapier?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to tell a badass story because I've been talking like I'm a wimp the whole time. So I had to tell a non-wimpy story to balance out
Oh, that's good.
my wimpiness.
I go full whip. Just
You're not supposed to go full wimp. Never go full wimp.
full whip.
Yeah.
That was my problem. Ladies and gentlemen, did you have fun with Mr. Mark Pellegrino?
Yeah, heart to heart.
Heart to heart?
Heart to heart talk.
That's what it's about.
Heart to heart.
I will see you for photos later.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mark